We're at the tail end of our 30-day long road trip, and it has definitely given us time to figure out what gear works and what does not for this type of travel. There is some gear that has really stood out, and unfortunately, there has been some failures. We are actually in the middle of the Alvord Desert. It is pretty expensive. It's not much around here.
Strangely, it doesn't look like there's anybody here, but there's actually a lot of people here. It was really fun last night. We actually hung out, played some music, just chilled. Got the propane fire out. We're gonna have a pretty awesome fire.
Because wood fires are not allowed here.
Turned on the propane. I think it lasted maybe 4 seconds and then it completely ran out.
Oh, actually over there, you can actually see a car coming. But it's getting hot, so we are going to head out to our next and last camping spot for the night, and we'll tell you all about the gear. You have found Explorer Trek Adventure with Kelly and Greg. We cover everything camping, from backpacking to adventure vans. I'll put links for everything we talk about today down in the description so it's easy for you to find. We found a spot, and it happens to be at the Pine Mountain Observatory with a little dedicated campground next to it.
We got super lucky. We didn't know this was a thing. Kelly looked it up and they're like, oh, they're open tonight. Making our way over to the observatory. We were scared it's not gonna be open, but we see red lights. They open like twice a month.
Yes, and it's only during the summer months, so actually it's free to the public. You know, they encourage donations, and you can go up and check out their telescopes. They're like a 24-inch one. They have some smaller ones. It's pretty awesome. And this campground is free. To give you a recap, we've covered almost 3,000 miles on this trip. We've done Oregon, Montana, Wyoming, and Idaho, and we actually hit 2 national parks. Let's get right into the gear that has failed us on this trip. And the first one up was our solar panel.
Now we have 200 watts of solar on the roof. That worked actually really good. But when we're at a spot for, you know, more than a day or two, we like to deploy our ground solar panel. And we brought the Bouge RV 200 watt panel, which normally has been treating us pretty good in the past. The problem is I deployed it out, one of the first times I deployed it out, and I picked it up by this little junction here. And when I picked it up to move it, I audibly heard it snap. And I don't know what snapped in there. Obviously there's a lead or something in there that snapped. And now we're getting about half the wattage from this panel.
This really caused us a problem because one of the spots we stayed at was for 5 days. We absolutely loved that place. But it was covered in trees. So getting sun, pulling out that extra solar panel was super important. We were getting super low in power, so we had to use everything in our arsenal. So that's where these dual purpose gadgets come in handy. Yes, these work as lights, but we also used them as our batteries. We had another light up here. We have our solar panel one we used as well. We used everything we possibly had to charge everything that we needed. And of course, we had the Blue Eddy as well.
How are we gonna make this better for next time? We're gonna bring a dedicated panel for the Blue Eddy. This panel was dedicated for the van, but the problem is, like in this scenario, I only have a 20-foot cable that I can put on here. And if I can't get sun, I can't get sun. This, I can pick up and I can take anywhere.
This next fail was very unexpected. We are coming up out of Leslie's Gulch. So that was just an interesting experience. We just came around the corner and there was a boat on the ground. There was a family who had a little trailer, a very small trailer, their fishing boat, and it actually broke apart. Said that the wells snapped.
We weren't much help, but we helped it a little bit get the frame back into spot, but he needed a welder. We don't have that.
Yeah.
So he's gonna ratchet strap it together and hopefully make it out or back down there.
I can't imagine taking that boat and trailer down to what we just came and everything staying in place without it being welded back together.
Before we left, I wanted to make sure I had all the tools. I'd done a lot of research on like what tools to bring. I don't know how I forgot these two, but we missed out on 2 things. One, a big pry bar. When I was looking through my tools, I'm like, oh yeah, I've got something in there. And all I had were these monster pliers. But this guy had busted, basically the whole leaf spring system had fallen through the weld and just was like hanging in the air. The second thing we needed was some heavy duty baling wire because we didn't have any way of keeping the leaf spring into place once we pried it in there. All I have is these giant zip ties, but these are gonna be no match for bouncing down the road holding a leaf spring for a boat trailer.
Now that was the gear that failed us. Now the next couple things we actually brought with us, but we didn't actually use. Now this trip was just Greg and I, so it was just the 2 of us. And the thing that we didn't use was our big table. We actually found that We didn't really need it, but it definitely takes up the space. We really like this table, especially when we're camping with other people, but we found that just the two of us, we didn't really use it at all.
Now this next one is not necessarily gear specific, although it kind of is, but it was clothing. This is my clothes bag. This is the clothes bag that we took out of this and everywhere else. This is the amount of stuff that we brought extra that we shouldn't have brought. And I can already tell you there's more stuff in here that I need to take out. Don't be afraid to take less because there's a gazillion stores out there. You just can buy what you need out on the road. Once I get this down to the bare minimum, which I think is gonna be easy to do, all this stuff in here will make it super easy to just toss right into our backpacks when we do some traveling.
Now let's talk about the MVPs of the trip. Now these might be small, but they have a huge impact on van life. My number one thing was our fridge organizer. These ended up being a lifesaver, really. They're little IKEA trays, and so we were able to easily pull things out instead of having to move everything around to get to. And we call this our crisper. It was full of vegetables, but now it's got a little bit of everything in there. But it's so much more organized and easy to get stuff out and find stuff. I can't tell you how much this has improved our fridge organization, because beforehand, I mean, everything was just jammed in there, had to search high and low for the butter, having to take everything out, it was a pain in the butt. And I ended up adding these over here. They're a little bit taller, and they're all of our spices. And this is the same version of what we have in the fridge, but it's the tall one. I actually keep like baking soda, cornstarch, cinnamon, actually taco seasoning as well, some baking powder. We actually ended up making some apple crisp while we were out on the lake in Montana, and everything I needed, look, I even have some vanilla in there. It's right here in this container. I also have another container down here that has less used spices in it, and these both stacked together fit right underneath the seat. Even though we have internet access mostly probably 95% of the time, I have had spots where we weren't able to use it, so I keep paper recipes in there as well.
One of my big MVPs of the trip is this Nexus tray, and it is AKA junk drawer or the nightstand. It's got all sorts of roles, but while I'm driving, I always have my keys up here. I'll have my radio mic up here. This gives me a place for my sunglasses. I'll actually, in the morning, I'll have my coffee up here, and surprisingly, it actually stays there. Although sometimes on the bouncy roads it wants to fly around, but it's never fallen off. We also keep cameras up here, we keep a radio, hand sanitizer. It's just a lot of stuff that doesn't normally have a home, and this gives it a home.
If you've been following us for a while, you know that we do not poop in our cassette toilet. So we have a portable toilet that we take outside and normally use. But unfortunately on this trip, we have been surrounded by a lot of people, so we haven't been able to use that portable toilet outside. And that's where these 4-gallon trash bags become an MVP. It turns out that these 4-gallon trash bags fit perfectly in the Revel toilet. What I end up doing actually is just stretching it just a little bit on the edges. This is what it looks like when you're ready to do your business. It fits right in there, and when you're done, you just tie it off and dispose of it. This is not going to be replacing our outside toilet, but it does give us two options, because this time around we definitely needed it.
Dealing with resources in the van can be problematic, water being one of them, but these two water filters kind of kept us from not having to worry about it. When we were in Montana especially, there was like water everywhere. You just had to filter it. This filtered our drinking water for us. This is the ITIL RO filter, worked really well. The only downfall is this, it's a little bit slow. So we would try to find a camp that had water. That way we could just set it up and kind of let it do its thing. The secondary one, this we used for filling the tank water in the van.
We stopped at Parkside Campground just before Beartooth Road, the one that goes crazy up high, so we could fill up some water. To get the water out, we have to use this hand crank thing, which is fine, except it really is helpful having two people, because you have to hold this up while you are cranking on this, and then it comes shooting out of this hole. So it was a little bit of a challenge, but with the two of us, not so bad.
And they would say, yeah, you can take water, but I don't know how you're going to get it in your van. And so we would go over there and pump the water into the buckets. Then we would use this to filter and pump it in. We would also be able to get it from streams and that kind of places and pump it right into the van. 100% I would bring both of these filters again. We do need to make one small change to this one. After using our water filter for a couple weeks, I need to make some changes. We need to get a slightly bigger pump. Now that I know the system works and we like it, we actually use it a lot. We need a bigger pump so we can push water faster. It takes us, you know, a good 20 minutes to process water with that, and I think that's too slow. So you can see how gnarly this filter looks, and I'm keeping spares of these filters in the van so we can change them on the fly. We are going to be testing out a different RO system in the near future, so look out for that. The last MVP of the trip is definitely Starlink.
If I had to guess, I would say that we were out of cell service coverage 75% of the time. So having that access to the internet via Starlink was really important.
We actually started with the 10 gig plan, and then we migrated to the 50 gig plan, and then we migrated to the unlimited. You do that because it saves you a lot of money. Paid about $100 for the whole month, and we used over a terabyte of data.
We needed to dump the gray tank, and we needed to be able to find a location. So we opened iOverlander to find that spot. Well, the only problem with iOverlander right now is the free version, you only get one state. And we were moving multiple states. So it was nice to be able to actually open up the app, delete that state, download the new one, and be able to find where we could dump.
Those were the MVPs of the trip, but there were also some surprise standouts, and this charger jump starter was definitely one of them. This saved somebody else's bacon, not our bacon, but somebody else. We were driving along the road, and all of a sudden we see this guy up on the cliff doing this, and I'm like, what is that guy doing? And he had jumper cables, and he was literally up on the side of the road hanging these jumper cables and then swinging them back and forth. So we stopped, we pulled over. Turns out he had left his ignition on, and he was way up there. We didn't take the van up there, but we walked up there. This is just a jump starter pack, and it's big enough to use on the Sprinter. It comes with the cables, which we used to hook up to his car. This is after jumping his car 3 times. The first time, it took probably about 6 percentage points off to get it started. And then the next 2 times, it kind of brought it down to 87. What really made this a big deal is having this thing be portable, because where this guy was, I don't think we would have been able to get the van up in there to actually use his jumper cables, because he was on this like weird side little road behind a fire pit on the side, and the front of his car was smashed into a berm. So that wouldn't have worked. This thing has a whole bunch of different outputs. You can charge phones, whatever with it. You can also charge laptops. It is able to output 100 watts, which actually is a ton. So far, we've been really happy with this little unit, although we've only used it that one time, but it did perform actually really well.
We have gone through many versions of trash cans, and this one seemed to work really well. First off, it's flat when we're not using it, and it has a lid. But when you open it up, it buckles on the side. It actually is not too terribly big, so it's easy to move around the space. Let me show you a few reasons why we like it. It's got a nice material on the outside, but on the inside it's actually lined. So if you have any spillage, it's easy to clean up. It's got some nice handles to carry it around. You can use it inside or outside. It also has these hooks on the side that you could easily hang something. But the best thing is, it fits like perfectly right in the middle of our seats. When we're traveling, we actually store it back here. But one thing to note is if you actually only fill it up halfway, so you have a smaller bag, it's much easier to dispose of, like say at gas stations or rest areas, because those big bags, they're hard to get rid of. They do have these clips on the inside to clip down onto the bag, but we found that they don't really work that well, so we don't actually use those clips.
Now I need to talk about a couple standout storage solutions. In the van, you always got to know where stuff is. For example, like we always keep the medical first aid kit down there in Kelly's door. Also on this trip, we now always keep our bear spray in our headrests. When you're in bear country, you don't want to be randomly searching for where did you put your bear spray. When you're in the van, you can just reach it, grab it, you got it. And if you're outside the van, if you needed to get to it quickly, it makes it super easy to just reach in here and grab. Although, if you're outside, you should probably be wearing this on your body, which leads me to my next one. Outside the van, I've been using this Osprey ultralight waist pack. This is the same pack that I use with my backpack. I carry it around there. The cool part is it folds down literally into nothing. What I did find is I keep my keys up here, makes it easy to grab, have my wallet and phone in here. But I also found that I just zip my bear spray in there. If I stick it over my shoulder like this, It makes it easy to get to my bear spray if I need to, but also for the rest of my stuff, as in the hot weather, my gear, I just don't have any pockets. It also has this quick release buckle, which makes it easy to pop off. I know not everybody has a drone, but maybe this will help someone. You always want to have everything really close to you as possible. And in this compartment here, this is where I keep our controller. And then when we're flying a bunch and we're driving around, I'll just throw the drone in our little candy dish.
When you're on the road for a while, this back space really ends up filling up. And if you don't have dedicated spots for everything, things get smashed. Right now, our pantry is jam-packed full. So what ended up happening is we would put our buns and our bread on the counter back here, and things would fall down and smash them. So we had to find a solution, and we were in Bozeman, and we found these crates. Let me show you the reasons why we picked these. But inside here, we got bread, we got chips, everything, and we know it's not gonna get smashed. Put that on there, and there's actually, if you look closely here, there's a little lip. So when we are driving down the road, this is here, it sits right in there. And we have been on some bumpy roads. Hasn't fallen off once. We ended up not getting the lid for the top one because we wanted to be able to have bulky items up here. A couple of videos ago, Greg mentioned that we'd be building out a cabinet back here, which these will be easily able to slide into, especially if the long table's not in here. That's gonna open up this area, so when we're chillaxing back here, eating, getting ready, we'll have much more legroom. Now, there was some gear that we didn't know we needed, and that would be high power binoculars. Now, we have some nice ones. They're 12 by 25. They do well, but when you're wanting to look at wildlife, especially if you're in Yellowstone or Grand Teton, you want some high-powered binoculars. A perfect example of this is when we were just getting into Yellowstone. There were actually two bears, a mama and a baby, but they were high up on this ridge, and you could just basically see their little outlines. We had to have high-powered binoculars. That would have been like awesome.
The other thing we didn't know we needed, or potentially we actually really want it now, is an extended range fuel tank for the van. When we were in the Montana Van Expo, I think nearly every single person we talked to there had or was getting one installed like that weekend, an extended range fuel tank. When you're dealing with huge spaces like in Montana and Alaska, Canada, going between gas stations can be problematic with that smaller tank. That's one reason why we're carrying this extra 5 gallons of diesel on here, although we didn't use it for this trip and I need to take it down and fill up the van so we can make our way home.
If you end up buying this diesel can holder, save yourself some time. Immediately throw away the lock that comes with it. It's terrible. We actually had to cut ours off. Now, what piece of gear is in your van that's just sitting there collecting dust, not being used? This is a beautiful spot, but oh my goodness, the flies are insane. You can go watch this video next. You can find us at explorertrekadventure.com, and we'll see you next time.